All right, everybody, and welcome back to the 9 Years podcast. I am Nick Draper, joined as always by the face of the BBC Sport website, Mr. Stuart Deacons. How was your weekend, everyone? Did we enjoy following along to Saturday's game at London Road away at Peterborough United? Did you enjoy seeing how many chances we were conceding, how many goals we were conceding? Were you enjoying seeing us fall to our biggest defeat since February 2020? And I think, and Stu, you might be able to help me out here, only the third time in the history of AFC Wimbledon, post-2002, that we've been beaten 5-0.
Yeah, I think so. I couldn't remember too much. I obviously remember, I think in terms of winning, I can remember losing 5-1 at Bradford. Obviously that week we lost 6-2 at Burton. Mm-hmm. But I think someone said about a 5-0 defeat at Oxford as well, potentially.
That's the one. Yeah, February 2020. Yeah, that's the one. Oxford United away.
But it does feel a little while since we've had our arse delivered to us. Yeah, it could have been. Do you know what? It could have been a lot more as well. But the thing that's interesting.
Looking for positives.
Yeah, but the thing that's interesting, right? This is going to sound really backward, right? It wasn't a 5-0 game. And what I mean by that is, like, we gave a lot of, some of the errors we made. We made probably the most individual errors in one game than we had probably for a month. But it wasn't a 5-0 game in terms of territory, pressure. Like, you expect a 5-0 game that you were under it the whole time, but we weren't. However, we could have lost one more. So it's just a weird one. It was just... Yeah, if you're going to make your mistakes, I don't know what Isaac Obadiah walked in before, or if you walked under anything, but poor bloke, everything he touched just didn't work, and he's one of our most solid performers. So when you get that situation, you know you're going to have a bad day.
It was a bad day, as we will come on to, probably for all our centre halves, to be honest. We will look for some positives, everybody. We've got the game to play, Richard Osman-Foyer's House of Games coming up. We've got no match to look forward to because we've got a week off because of international call-ups, but we've got a couple of bits around the Dons Trust to talk about as well. But yeah, Stu, I mean, this Peterborough game, Isaac, yes, gave away a penalty, air kicked for the third goal to give them a tap in. Ryan Johnson gets caught with the ball under his feet and then goes for a header and it skims off the top of his head again to get them through. It's a bit annoyed that we conceded twice to a porn star, Dolph Lundgren, I think, with 2 goals for Peterborough. Joe Lewis, 4th goal, lets his man run past him, makes a bit of an error for the 5th goal. Just an absolute nightmare on every level from all 3 centre-halves. Last week we said don't panic after Burton and Gateshead, and we still shouldn't panic because we're still 7th in the table and we still have a really strong start. But the warning signs we've said have been there for a little while. And Peterborough were bottom of the league. New manager bounce, irrespective of that. They were bottom of the league going into it. So just a horrendous day, really. And yeah, can we say any more than that? I don't think we can.
No, I said last week when we previewed it, Peterborough got very good individual players, new manager bounce. They beat Cardiff in the cup. And it's weird because obviously a few clubs are going through bad patches, Cardiff, Bradford, ourselves. But yeah, Peterborough got very good individual players and they showed that. I just think when you give a team like that encouragement, and it's how we started, we've said this before, haven't we, about, second half starts. But first and second half starts were just terrible on Saturday. And it's difficult because we haven't, defensively, we got promoted on our defensive shape. But we're just going through a really bad patch, and thankfully, obviously, we played in the week and we scored a couple of goals in that. Hopefully, that will remind them where the net is, because we had about over 300 minutes without a goal since our last goal at Plymouth. And that's where your problem is when your defence. I think, like anything, when your defence is realising you're not scoring, it means you've got to really keep them out to get anything out of games and puts a little bit of pressure. So yeah, not good, not good. But any positives? It was only 5. That's a positive.
It was only 5. The midweek win in the B Team Trophy. I did just have a look at the match stats, to be honest with you. Just back to another win where we've scored 2 goals, where we've had 2 shots on target and scored them both. I think we only had 3 shots in target the whole game.
Yeah.
It just shows you goalkeepers, when we win games, goalkeepers don't make saves against us. It's this weirdest thing. I've never known a run like it. In terms of our defensive record, you say, and how well we defended the team, is there something in that on Saturday in that we made a couple of changes? The system was slightly different. It didn't seem to help us. Like the front 3, if I've got this right, were Orsi, Bugle, and Marcus Brown. No word on Miles Hippolyte where he was. In my head, when I saw that team lineup, I'm thinking, well, that's Orsi and Omar up front and Marcus Brown just in behind them. That doesn't seem to be what happened from what I've been told.
No, we seem to play. It felt like we were playing 2 10s again. It felt like we were playing Omar as the lead, and Orsi and Marcus Brown went wide a lot more. The problem is, it was very difficult to see how we could keep the ball. The midfield 2 didn't play well. Jake Reeves or Addy Smith didn't play well. Didn't feel like we won enough second balls. We went long and then didn't keep it. All the things that we've seen. You can't keep momentum. If you can't keep the ball and you don't win seconds, then you're going to struggle. And that's where we were. We do seem to keep mucking around with the defence at the moment. It's either Harbottle or Ockendeer, or then Bauer comes in. It's a weird one at the moment, but I don't think the shape was the thing that was the problem for us. I think it was just not enough winning second balls, not keeping the ball enough, and in the end, we just couldn't keep them out.
I just think, I know you say the shape wasn't the problem, as it were, but I do just look at it. I just think, Marcus Brown, Danilo Orsi playing, as you say, sort of wider roles in the team. It doesn't really suit either of their best positions. Marcus Brown's best position is not out wide. Danilo Orsi's best position is not on the pitch. That's a bit harsh. If you're going to play Orsi, you want him in the box. You don't want him out wide. I don't think so. Especially the rest of the team lines up not as normal as we'd expect, wouldn't we? So you've got Sasu and Seddon as our wing backs. So I don't know. Does that confuse matters if you push your forwards out wide? I don't know. I just think, as you say, it's just seemed disjointed throughout the team.
Well, we played a 3-5-2 on essence, or a 3-4-3 for as long as we can remember. And with that, your wing backs need to be coming, with that formation, your wing backs either become good wing backs or they become fullbacks. And if you can't keep the ball in the final third of the pitch or their half, then your wing backs become fullbacks, and then you just drop in. If you don't win your seconds, you can't get up the pitch. The Bromley game, you're right with the stats. Bromley will feel really hard done by not to win that game. They battered us in places. Again, defensive errors. And it was only really when we got our second goal that all of a sudden we started holding the ball, and it was then no surprise to see Steve Seddon and the Simway getting the ball on the halfway line and able to attack rather than them feeling like they're on the back foot. So it's really important. I feel we have Omar's really important to us keeping the ball, but it's putting a lot of pressure on him. We don't have an Omar replacement. We don't have that big lump that can just cause havoc, not even winning the ball, just causing havoc. And we're very similar. Orsi's struggling. There's no point denying that. He's struggling, absolutely struggling. And without Matty Stevens, we don't know how long that's going to be. When Hippo goes, he's got a lot of strength and a lot of presence. So, yeah, the squad is being tested at the moment, and having a week break might not be the worst thing in the world.
I don't want to pick through all the goals one by one. I think that would be harsh and overkill in a post-mortem. But the first goal, what I hadn't realised when I saw the highlights of it, was how it had started. And it was simply them just passing the ball around at the back, to be honest with you. And it just felt like we just weren't on it in terms of the press we normally have. Again, I'm not sure if that was to do with the shape. They passed through the thirds really easily, far, far too easily. What teams, and you do notice this, the way we defend, when a ball comes into a certain area, Joe Lewis is the one of the three centre halves that always steps out to go and press and try and nip the ball, try and nick the ball before it goes any further. If they move it quickly enough, it takes him out and we're screwed. And we're all running towards our own goal, which you never want to be doing. And that's what they did. So in that regard, I think you should say fair play to them. Okay. From their perspective, that first goal is a great goal. But from our perspective, again, it just seemed too easy. It just didn't seem enough pressure on the ball. We were just a yard off it.
Yeah, and Johnny, to be fair, said that. He said that we weren't, our shape and our press, and it wasn't on. And it feels like, especially in, we've all discussed this league. Is it as good as what we thought it was, or are we overperforming, or all that sort of stuff? But it just feels if you don't get your basics right, then you can get turned over. That's what that's what we've seen, and we probably are off it a little bit. The levels that we set at the beginning of the season, maybe we are off it a little bit, and we're definitely not pressing as. And I think there's pressing and there's pressing in numbers. If if you do an isolated press, then you get taken out of the game, which is what we're saying. Especially with your forward line. If one goes, then you've got to go as a group. If you don't, you're just picked off. We have played that high line with Joe Lewis. I worry about how many bruises he's got after the Bromley game because he got a hell of a lot of knocks and we kept him on for a lot longer than we should have done, in my opinion.
Right.
But yeah, if you're not on it, and Johnny, I think the thing I was pleased about is Johnny didn't come and try and sugarcoat it. And you could do it 5-0. He just come out and was honest. That wasn't right. Press wasn't good. Shape wasn't good. We didn't do the stuff that we did. If you don't, you come up short. And hopefully we learn that lesson. But we do look a little bit scared of our own shadow at the moment, which is a worry, no?
Have we rushed Joe Lewis back too quickly? And what I mean by that is he had a good spell out, time to recover from his rib injury, but then he wasn't nursed, if that's the right word. He wasn't eased back into games. He was starting against Gateshead. He then starts again against Peterborough, starts again against Bromley. Was there a need for him to be straight back in? Could we have, especially now we've got a 10-day break, so there was even more time to get him fit, ready to go. Possibly, potentially a behind closed door game in that spell just to keep us fresh or whatever, and then bring him back for Wigan the week after next.
Yeah, he's just such a big player for us, isn't he? I think that's the problem. He's such a big player. But we've said this before.
He is, but
we didn't feel we had to rush him back, did we?
It's not worked.
No,
but exactly, and it's not worked because we've lost the games.
Yeah, we also said, didn't we? When he was out, we haven't got to rush him back like we had before. We did that before. We had Patrick Bauer, but I just don't think we've ever got on top of our defence recently. So, we had 2 consecutive games where I think we bought off Patrick Bauer and bought on High Bottle and moved players around. So, one time we play Ogdendeer, then High Bottle sits on the bench and we lose. High Bottle's a bit more mobile, and also he's got a long throw, which we all know is coming back into the game after never being in it. So it's we have mucked around with it a bit. I get the reason to bring Joe Lewis back, and I'd be hypocritical if I said it was a wrong decision because I wanted him to come back, but he hasn't looked on it. He's looked a little bit on the standards that he sets. He hasn't played that, and I thought that was the same with Jake Reeves against Peterborough, and even to be fair against Bromley, the levels they've set. The only one that is continuing to keep his levels up is Steve Seddon. So I'll be true. It's the only person I can honestly say that I think his levels don't drop. But if you're carrying 4 or 5 players, you ain't going to win a game of football.
And yeah, probably quite what you say is midfield. We don't have the options there.
Can't change it.
Jake or Smith a break, and I know you're saying about Jake there. For me, Smith needed a rest for a good little while now. So yeah, it's a little bit of a conundrum, isn't it? But hey, look, we it's sort of kind of a little bit first world problems. We knew this going in this season. We were expecting this season to be a real slog and really, really difficult, and we are still doing much better than we thought we would be at this stage. So you always have to temper everything with that knowledge. But I do come back to what I said. We say how great Steve Seddon is, but that program article, I looked it up.
I know you sent me it as well, didn't you?
It's just like I found it because my dad still had a copy of his program when I went round and took a photo of it, sent it to you because it does say, but it's just like it's in big bold letters. It's like a Paul quote in the article. The boys are overperforming. It's like you can think that, just don't say that. Say it in a we're doing really, really well, but we know this is a really tough league and we've got to keep our levels up to maintain this. That sort of phrasing. Don't come out and say, yeah, we're doing much better than we did because actually we're a bit shit.
It's weird, isn't it? Because we always say that managers have sound bites. So obviously the Rob Edwards situation with Middlesbrough, his opening sound bites are now being he's basically being hung by them about, he got a 3-year deal where I want to be part of a building a squad. And he's getting absolutely hammered now because actually he said the sound bites that we all want to hear. And then when you're honest, it's like, well, why do you say that? Do you know what I mean? Where's your loyalty? And it's the same with Steve Seddon. It's like, well, he was honest. Sometimes you're like, don't want to be that honest.
No, not there's being honest, and then there's sometimes you need to couch your terms slightly, I think.
Yeah. So fair play, fair play to him. He's he's an experienced lad as well, isn't he? Maybe not a bullet headline that probably something needs to be hidden in an article and not maybe put as the lead quote.
Well, the thing is, to be honest with you, Stu, I wouldn't, if it hadn't have been the fact they pulled it out as a Paul quote, like in big letters, I would have never seen it because I wouldn't have read the article, to be honest. So yeah, there you go.
Again, it's also a sign, though, of us not really knowing how to judge our season. So, I've been guilty of that, going, well, look, I was looking at how far we were away from fourth bottom for most of the time we were, especially first 10 games. It's like, okay, great, we've extended our lead on them and stuff. And then it was going, actually, do you know what, maybe look at the top of the table because we are there on merit. So you're sort of, in a way, caught on your own thing. Do you want to downplay it or do you want to go, actually, let's embrace it? Because you look at it, we're still 7th. I looked at the form guide for the last 8 games on form guide. We're still 3rd in form. So if you look at if you actually look at the measurements, the stats, they're not lying. It's just we've had a shit last 2-3 weeks. And Johnny Jackson did say, I think I heard him say something. It was where we're gonna have a break now, and during that break, we need to remember how good a start we had. We need to realise we had a good start. We're not a bad team. Because you can feel sorry for yourself, and fans will now start feeling sorry for yourself and stuff like that. But we need a break because we're going to go into Wigan, then we're going to go into the Christmas, it will be Christmas soon, even though Christmas lights are up at the moment. What the hell is that all about?
We had mince pies in October, Stu.
I know. So yeah, we are going to go into a really busy period of games. And thankfully, we're out of the FA Cup. Might be a blessing in disguise that we haven't got another game. You don't know. But we've got to switch on quickly. Got to get some players back. Doesn't help. We've got international call-ups. Doesn't help that Omar is away for Wigan game. That really, really is annoying me. I'm just getting fed up. I'm getting fed up of international. Like, can we just stop bring Concord back so we can get Omar back quicker? Like, let's travel faster than the speed of light. Let's get. Worries me sometimes because Omar, I feel, needs a break. However, equally, he's very proud to represent his country. But his country are having a 2-week training camp, which drags over. We live for Wigan. It's just like, this is the 3rd international weekend, and we can't be affording, 1, to be not having our best players, and 2, our best players playing meaningless, if I'm being honest with you, international fixtures. It's just ridiculous.
I mean, Wigan at home is not a bad fixture at present time. Given a little bit of a dodgy spell or whatever, it's not the worst team we could have had. Huddersfield away the following weekend. Who knows? Huddersfield aren't really doing it so far this season. I know their manager's under a little bit of pressure as well. So fixtures in the immediate, I know we've got a week break now. Not the worst, but it is frustrating these international weeks. Do you know what one player we haven't spoken about just on talking about the squad and how it's developing and stuff and how we're doing? Goalkeeper. But we have no complaints about the goalkeeper, do we? We're all quite happy.
I'm happy enough. I didn't think there was nothing for anything. No, the 5 goals couldn't have fought in. No issue. I think the problem you get in the moment is people are still measuring him against Owen Goodman or Alex Bass. Obviously Alex Bass was against us
yeah.
for Peterborough, and did a really good save for a free kick. But let's not forget, Peterborough spent a lot of money on Alex Bass. So, that's the reason why. He's a very good goalkeeper. But no problems at all with Nathan Bishop. I think he's done well. Kicking sometimes can be a bit suspect.
Yeah.
That's being picky. But no, the basics of keeping the ball out the back of the net until, obviously, Saturday, he's done all right.
He's done all right. And positive as well. There is another positive. Osman Foyo is back.
Thank goodness.
He is there. And we'll see how he gets on.
Yeah,
we have no idea at this point. We have no idea what to expect at this point.
No, he got. I think he got like 10 minutes or something against Bromley. Hey, look, like I said before, during pre-season, he looks a handful. Obviously, then picked up a ban, didn't he? Obviously, had the issues with betting and stuff like that, and now he's back. You just got to see what is his fitness like, what's his sharpness like. But he's definitely a positive addition in the forward line. And I was saying not having a replacement for Omar, he is a big, powerful lad. So, if we need to go back to front very quickly, it ain't going to harm having a lump like him up there who's very pacey as well.
I remember him playing up front towards the tail end of last season. He got a start, I believe, away at Gillingham. Was he alongside Aaron Sassu that day? I think he might have been.
Well, Aaron Sassu can play anywhere, can't he? Let's be fair. I think he's played right wing back, left wing back, right midfield. We went to a 4-4-2, 4-3-3 on Saturday at one point, and then played up front against Bromley for a little while. So, hey, look, we're trying Aaron Sassu. Hey, look, I like Aaron Sassu. I think he's got a lot of good qualities. I think we struggle to know where to play him. I think he struggles to get proper game time. Probably, I sort of tend to agree with a lot of people now that he could do with a loan. He ain't gonna go out on loan because he's a first team player. We just don't know where to play.
I know the answer to one of these questions. I'm just trying to think, Stu. 5-0, right? I don't think I've ever seen us lose 5-0. I wasn't at Oxford. I wasn't at York. I wasn't at Villa back in 96 when the long unbeaten run came to a shuddering, juddering, crashing halt. I can't think of any of those. I genuinely can't. But, have you got any memories of losing 5-0 anywhere?
I was at the York game midweek. I was at the Oxford. I wasn't at the Villa one. No, do you know what? It's not nice getting beaten by that score. The trick is probably not. I suppose I would be a little bit more, like I say, I remember when we lost 6-2 to Burton and went up to Bradford and we were going, that was when I remember thinking Terry Brown was going to be gone quite quickly because he looked as depressed as we were on the bench as we were in the stands. I think this context is totally different because we started the season so well. You could argue it's probably a one-off. Our away form, if you look at our away form again over the whole season, I think we're in the top 6 for away form. So again, we've just got to make sure we don't get too carried away with it as fans, but also that the team don't start thinking that we're not as good as maybe what our form has shown. That's the trick, isn't it? And I can see why Johnny was going on about the team. We need to remind the team of the things that we've done good this season because we have.
I remember very well, of course, the 6-2 at Burton. I was there that evening, and things were bad then. When you look at the squad at that time, and we had Warren Cummings and Curtis Haynes Brown and all the likes, and we knew it was obvious to see why Terry Brown was looking so glum on that occasion. The Oxford 5-0, which must have been under Glyn Hodges, because that was the season that then got curtailed because of COVID.
Yeah.
So I think that was Glyn Hodges. Julian Lammy, I'd forgotten he even played for us.
Yeah,
Adam Roscoe.
I think the problem is whenever you're at them games, it just feels demoralising. But I think they were in different circumstances. In fact, we took 1,100, 1,200 fans to Peterborough
I think 1,300.
1,300. I remember York. I think we did well. We had a couple of hundred there because it was a rearranged game midweek after the initial game got waterlogged. So I think it's the first time probably we've got smashed 5-0 with quite a good away support. I thought I understand they kept behind them because I didn't notice any booing or anything like that. And well, can I just say something, right? I'm going to moan here. Can we stop people online keep going on about maybe the team should pay back all their salary or pay all their fans? Like, come on. Because if we're going to think that, then maybe you should be thinking about, it's like spread betting. Like, so if we win the game, do you then all volunteer to put an extra tenner in their pay packet?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, I think, who did it? Who paid for, like, I think a Premier League team paid for their fans and coach truck. But that's a Premier League team. They live in a total different fantasy world with fantasy money. It really annoys me. Players don't deliberately turn up to lose. And I'm sure if we didn't perform in our day roles and someone said, you're not getting paid today, I'm sure a union would be on their back straight away. So yeah, it just annoys me. I know people do it for a reaction. Well, I think they've got reactions.
What I did enjoy, he talks about how fans took the defeat. I don't think we took this defeat as well as we did the Gateshead game. One thing I didn't mention last week, Gateshead, do you know what? I will look back on that Gateshead game, despite the fact we lost at home to a conference team again, 2 divisions below us. I will look back at it fairly fondly. Do you know why? Because as we were walking away from that, there was just a feeling that we'd just been and all watched collectively a typical FA Cup upset. Felt like proper football. Saturday, 3:00, proper football. Okay, too many subs. We'll ignore that one for the minute.
9
and people
subs.
walking 9 fucking subs. Do you know what? Anyway, let me come back to that one. As we were leaving the stadium, everyone was kind of in a good mood. Maybe because, the actual defeat we'd accepted for quite a long time by the time the final whistle had actually arrived. But people were walking out, and there seems to be a nice kind of typical British kind of reaction where it's kind of a shrug of the shoulders and going, oh, well, that was that. On to the next thing. Not too down, not too worried. One guy commented that because it was raining as we left the stadium, he commented that this was the first time that he had used his new umbrella. And I thought, well, there we go. That shows where everyone's head is at that moment in time. We're not worried particularly about the result. We've just been, in a good-natured way, taken defeat. And I do love that, actually, to be honest with you. I think that was quintessentially British for me. 9 subs. No one can answer me this question. Why? Why do we have 5 subs in league games? Nobody can answer me that question. There is no need. All it is doing is stockpiling players to fucking earn footballers more money. It's a con. Absolute con.
Yeah. Hey, look, I think you've got more problems with players sitting on the bench and not getting any game time. Sam Hutchinson, the amount of time Sam Hutchinson's been on our bench and not got any game time. Hey, look, it happened because of COVID. He got pushed through because of them. I wouldn't be surprised because I remember. Hey, look, we're going back years. I remember the days when you had 2 subs and the rest of the team played a combination game, a reserve fixture. Yeah. We don't have a reserve team, so I would not be surprised if you see like World Cups where you need a whole front row of seats on the side for the amount of subs you go. Like Chelsea must give away like 100 seats or block off 100 seats for their subs or their reserve players for games, like the amount of players. So, hey, look, I wouldn't be surprised in years to come where actually your whole squad can sit on the bench. We wouldn't be surprised.
It will happen.
Because what's the point? You name an 18-man squad because you can have 7 subs. You have a 19. You have normally a reserve 19th person. I just don't. I think you'll get a point where you can name as many. So at the moment, I think like for European games, you can name 25 players in your European squad. It wouldn't surprise me when all those can sit on the bench because you name. Do you know what I mean? So it wouldn't surprise me. But it's football. Football changes. Football moves on.
I want to go back to the days where you had no subs, and not no subs, but you had like 2 subs, and if your goalkeeper got sent off or injured, you had to put an outfield player in goal because that was entertaining. And at the bottom line is, Stu, football should be entertainment. That's what it is there for, and it should be fun. and they keep doing things that suck the fun out of it. It really annoys me. I don't understand.
I would really want us to. I'd love reserve football to come back.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know why it drops out. But reserve. Hey, look, I was brought up from going to reserve games at Flower Lane, the Avon combination, 2 p.m. kickoff. When I used to work for the post office, I used to finish at midday, go down, watch a game, see players. Players got game time. It's just I don't see why you can't reserve football. I really don't. And it's like, and the interesting fact, obviously, the competition, the EFL Trophy, we moan, don't we, about under 21 teams. I saw an interesting fact that out of the 16 clubs that come in as under 21s, only one team qualified for knockout stages, and 9 of the 16 teams failed to win one game. Which is just, what's the point? What's the point? Put them in. I think we could play. I think reserve football. I would love that to come back. I really would. I think just because people are getting game time. Like what we're seeing, players like Nick McDonald, Sam Hutchinson, Callum Maycock, not getting the 90 minutes. They're not getting the game time, and you can train as much as you want. But that's one thing I would love. But what I would also say is it needs to be a competitive reserve. Because I do remember when we used to play at Mersham when we were playing teams who didn't have a reserve.
Oh, yeah. No.
So that's your problem. I think it's probably a bit far-fetched to get it back, but I never understood why it stopped.
Yeah. I just remember Sutton United, Gander Green Lane. That was all my era where our reserves moved to eventually, and you'd go down there and see, Andy Pearce and Reeves and get some game time, see how they're getting on. Them were the days. Never mind. Nick McDonald, by the way, doing very, very well still to be playing for us. Do you mean Joe McDonald?
Oh, yes. Mr. McDonald.
I double took when you did that. I went, fucking hell, I've not heard that name. It's because you're thinking Bromley. I think that must have been it. You're like, oh, yeah, Nick McDonald.
Yeah.
Overall, we're not going to do best week or worst week because I think we've already done that one. Basically, best week, Steve said, and worst week, everybody else. What was your pick of the results in the third tier from last weekend?
Yeah, do you know what? One that come out to mind was obviously Bradford losing at home to Burton, but also Blackpool's recovery at the moment. Obviously being Cardiff 3-1 at home. If you think how bad Blackpool were when we played them, obviously when Steve Bruce lost his job. But like I say, Cardiff have gone on a bit of a bad run. So have Bradford. And Burton at the moment are it doesn't seem like that defeat against Burton back a few weeks ago was a shock because ultimately their form has been really good.
Burton are having a bit of a resurgence, a renaissance at the moment. I reckon we're going to see their shops back on the high street soon as well. They really are doing well. I have to mention, because of course I do, it was a great day for the Hatters at Edgeley Park. And a genuine shock result, really, that one. I still think there are many problems there. I don't read too much into it for the time being.
No, Joe, and it's really funny you say it's a shock because I tend to agree with you. I think if I'd seen a 1-0 win or an odd goal win, I'd have said not so much of a shock. But to beat Stockport so comfortably. But do you know what? I'm sure it's only a blip for Stockport. I don't see anything different from them.
Stockport have done a really stupid thing, and they've put a roof on their away end.
Yeah, they put the old gazebo.
Yes, I've heard it referred to as the Bake Off end now because I don't watch Bake Off, but I believe there is some sort of marquee or tent involved, and that's what it looks like. But you know what? The posts that are holding it up, there's so many posts behind that goal now, poles. You got blooming see anything. Did it rain that often for the need for cover? I don't think so.
It's like you just do a cheap option. It's for the away fans. So it's like someone's gone, well, we need to put a roof on there to be nice, and maybe we can charge her a bit more money if we put a roof on there, but we don't want the roof to be anything decent. Like if there's any bit of gale or anything like that, it's going to take off. And there's actually, I laugh. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but an AI was done on the actual end the actual roof coming off and blowing off into the distance.
Right.
Of course, for a little while, I thought it might have been real because AI is ridiculous. Looks so real. We are going to be buggered in years to come of knowing what to believe on anything.
Months to come, months, not years.
Well, yeah. I saw one of Lammy dressed up in a clown's uniform, which is just absolutely hilarious. But yeah, no, I did see an AI of where it actually come off. So yeah, no, it does seem like the cheap option, but yeah, we will obviously when we go there next week, we have the benefit of having a little bit of protection.
It's just one of those grounds I was about to say that I wouldn't mind returning to and revisiting because it's been many years since I've been to Edgeley Park, but I don't think I'll bother now with that one. I'll just stick to ticking off the grounds I haven't done. So Huddersfield in a couple of weeks, Wigan I still haven't done, bizarrely. Lincoln, those places I will try and tick off. I ticked off on the weekend, Stu, Southampton.
Yes, I did notice
hosted Sheffield Wednesday, and thought me it was boring. It would be boring. It's two teams that we don't give a fuck about. But, yeah, Southampton have this new stadium, 20 plus years old. It's quite big. It's quite big, but I could have been anywhere in the country.
I noticed there was a lot of empty seats compared to what I normally recognise as Southampton. It did, obviously I know they're not going through the greatest bit of form, but I did notice a lot of gaps compared to what you normally do.
Yeah, and I think as you say, it's just a struggling team that were in the Premier League last season. It always happens when teams fall out of the Premier League. There's this new thing, and it's a money-making thing about entertainment pre-match. And Southampton, when I got there, had a live band in a tent, like big bar sort of area where people were milling about, stuff like that. So you couldn't hear anyone speaking because they were so loud.
You're getting so old.
And then, pardon, sorry, I couldn't say it again. Couldn't quite hear you. But you know what? I could not. I was like, people who were standing there. I was thinking, you cannot actually be enjoying this because you cannot hear a thing. But then I also thought, obviously, money club trying to keep people around the ground because the money goes into their pocket as opposed to going elsewhere and whatever pre-match. And I understand it. I also wonder, Stu, if there's a bit of behaviour management in the fan zones that are cropping up. And I've seen them everywhere now. Luton have now got one. Everton had one when I went there. They all have them. But also what it meant is that you're 3 minutes until the game kicks off and the ground is still half empty. And it never used to be that bad to that extent. People would get in, they'd be in their positions quite early, generating the atmosphere. It could maybe sometimes make the atmosphere, a little bit edgy in some instances, perhaps. I remember years ago going to Luton versus Plymouth. They didn't like each other at the time. Plymouth fans were sold out away end, and they were all in that away end half an hour before kickoff, create an atmosphere. But you don't get that now and I do wonder if that is not by accident. I think that is design of the behavioral specialists, shall we say, including the people that work with the police and everything like that. I genuinely think it's a way to manage behaviour.
Possibly, yeah, we have it, don't we? I did laugh. I don't know if I mentioned it. I did laugh after the Burton games. Obviously, we have a DJ, don't we, outside the Phoenix?
Right.
And I just recall after the Burton game, walking out after we'd done our media stuff, and thinking they're playing the disco. We've just been beat. And then we go, I wonder how many people are going to be there, and there was nobody.
There you go.
Bearing in mind, it was about 5:45, 6 o'clock. But I'm just like, has anyone told him we lost? Like, it should be a case. Yeah. If you lose a game, you just cancel anything for post-match. Like, just cancel everything. We're going home. Sod it. Shut the pub.
Yeah.
Whereas if we win, we should have a lock-in and everyone stay.
It might be a little bit far for a single win. Maybe a big win. Maybe, the next time we play who, perhaps, potentially, which might be on the radar in the not too distant future. Anyway, a few other things to talk about. But before we do, should we just have a quick go of Richard Osman-Foyer's House of Games?
Yes.
No prep this week, Stu. I thought I would join you and play along with you this week.
Oh, cool.
And we will play a game called Distinctly Average, where you will give an answer, I will give an answer. We will take the average of our two answers and see how close we got. And to make it genuine, I've not looked up the answers to these questions that I have thought of. All right?
Happy days.
So First one I thought was, what do you think the distance is in miles from, let's go from Wimbledon, so let's go from Plough Lane to London Road, Peterborough. That was our last game. All right. So how many miles do you think are between Wimbledon and Peterborough?
90.
Yeah, see, that's not a bad shout. Yeah. I would say about 100, I reckon.
I don't think it's three numbers.
No, you asked one number. 3 digits, Sorry, teach your head on. Let's go for 120 because then that'll bring our average down to 105 and see where that lands us. Okay.
Yeah.
So, listeners, talk amongst yourselves whilst I go to the AA.com route planner to figure out the actual answer to this question. Stu, can you entertain the listeners whilst we do this because my internet has it's done a Liam Trotter and it has stalled.
Yes. Well, I'm trying to think of what I can say. Really, it's raining. Isn't it really mild at the moment as well? We were saying, weren't we? It doesn't feel like a November. Doesn't feel like
it does not feel.
Doesn't feel like you need to wrap up. I might keep the shorts out for a little bit longer than what I normally do.
I really hope it does sort of cool down very quickly because it's far too. Okay, here goes Stu. Do you know what, Stu? I do apologise. I've messed up our average there completely because you were right. By road, it's apparently 88.7 miles.
There we go. There we go.
There you go.
By road, what is it different by grass or by wasteland?
By as the crow flies, I guess it's probably shorter. Okay, next one. How many points do you think we won in total in our 2 seasons in the combined counties league?
Oh, crikey. Well, we got over 100 when we won it. And we weren't far from 100. We didn't win it. I would go for 220.
Okay. I'm going to say, so you're going for 220. Thing is, I remember our exact record the second season, so I can work out exactly how many points we got in that second season, which I think was 130. What's 42 times 3? 126? Yeah, so 130. So let's say we won 235. Do you know what? 236, because then it makes the average easier for me to work out. So we've gone for 228.
Yeah.
Yeah? Our average, 228.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in the first season, we won 111 points.
Wow.
111 points to finish third. 111. And second season, I'm pretty sure is 130. Yeah, so there we go. So 241 in total.
And it mad. And it mad in 2 seasons. And it mad in 2 seasons that we scored over 100 points in each. And the first one, we still didn't get promoted.
I know. Crazy. How many goals did we score in total across those 2 seasons?
Oh, crikey. Well, we must have hit what? We must hit 100 goals in the second season. Must have.
Yeah.
And to be fair, probably went far, probably a bit short. I reckon probably close to 200 goals across both seasons.
305. We scored.
And to be fair, I'm trying to remember. Can you remember how many actually we were awake for those? Because we did get to a stage where we sort of like watched the first couple of goals and then we used to talk amongst ourselves. And then sometimes miss shots.
Yeah.
Because we were too busy chatting with each other.
Yeah.
The great thing about that league was that we could be losing at half time or even losing into the final 10 minutes and still win.
Yeah, we had a couple of those. Yeah.
Chesterton and Hook from memory, or Chesterton United away.
Yep.
No,
Chesterton and Hook, yeah, 5-3, yeah.
Yeah, it was. And then, of course, you had the games where you just won 9-0 and took the mickey out of the goalkeeper or took a mickey out of somebody because it was just hilarious. They were taking it seriously and we were just scoring for fun. Yeah, those were the days.
What would you say was your favourite CCL game?
Favourite CCL game? I still think beating Waterford, I think was one of. I think beating Waterford 3-2 at home. The Hornchurch game.
That wasn't CCL, Stu.
No, it wasn't actually, was it?
No.
I tell you what, I did have a game where my mate, I used to play for a Sunday league team. And my mate Russell, I remember phoning me up on the morning of Chesterton. I think it was Chesterton United playing at Kings Meadow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Telling me he was going to be playing, and I went, Rush, you can't. You can get absolutely hammered. And then I decided that I would make some songs up for him, and they lost, I think, 9-0. And I felt, and then it went to a stage where I felt really sorry for him that he'd been put in that situation, and then realizing someone from my Sunday team is playing against a team that I support.
Don't think about that for too long, because yeah. Do you know what? It's hard. I do agree with you. Wallingford, both home and away game. We know what happened at the away game, the one time we went there, but how can you ever forget that day? Absolute crazy day. And do you know what? We had great credits. I enjoyed Hartley Wintney away, even though we lost that one as well. Just because Hartley Wintney was such a nice place.
Yeah, it was. Hey, look, you wouldn't want to go back now to it because it was. But I always say to people that when we lose games, we really want to win. And when we got relegated, I still say to people, just for those that were able to go to the CCL days, just remember what it was like, because then it does give you a little bit of a reality check. Because we it was only 22, 23 years ago, but it was a hell of an experience. But something I don't want to ever go through again.
No, very important though. They were formative years for me. I was about 7 or 8 at the time. So, okay, last question. I've chosen my favourite Wimbledon player when I was a child. Hey, look, probably still my favourite Wimbledon player to this day. I don't know. Neil Ardley probably is my actual favourite. But when I was a kid, Jason Euell for me was like the man, right? Loved Jason Euell. How many goals did Jason Euell score in his Wimbledon career? Bear in mind, he didn't score for us when he came back to play for us in 2012. I think it was 2012.
That was the biggest disappointment, wasn't it?
I know. He never scored.
The only one who's ever come back is David Conley.
Yeah.
It scored, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's a different. I don't know. Did he even hit 100 goals? I'm trying to think now. He must have hit. So. He must have. I would say probably 70 goals.
Okay. I'm going to say about 45. So our average 40. Let's go for 45. So the average is 57.5 goals.
Yeah, I'm sure he'd get half a goal.
Yeah, he scored against Watford, so that's 1.5 goals. There you go. Counts more when you score against Watford. Let's find out. According to the Internet Bible, for Wimbledon, yeah, do you know what's due? 41 goals.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird how your memory plays tricks. You sort of think you should have scored more, but of course the level we were playing at was so much more tougher, wasn't it? And can I just say, by the way, it's great to see the club announce that we will be having probably one of our favourite players, Ovin Leonardson.
Yes,
will be our guest of honour for the second Worldwide Womble weekend. So I've known for a little while, to be fair, because I've been really excited about him coming along, and I'm going to be doing a tour with him on the Friday night. So I've been quite lucky. Last year was Hans Segers, who's one of my heroes. And I got a chance to walk around Plough Lane with him, and now Leonardson. So yeah, it's going to be. I can't wait.
No, I bet that'll be a really fun occasion. So quite jealous of that one, to be honest.
And he's really, and it's all, and I think it'll be a Friday night. People, it's not just open to our worldwide fans. If fans just want to come along for the tour and stuff like that, and be bored with me walking them around. But Hans Zegers had some great stories, to be fair. Was a real pleasure. But yeah, Leonardson coming is just like, I still remember his debut, scoring those goals. The first real foreigner, I think the first foreigner we had, unless you're counting people from Ireland.
Hans Segers?
Shit, yeah. Yeah, but shit, yeah, I just said it. Probably, but you know what, right? The funny thing is I remember going to, and this is where people won't realise it now when you've got like Erling Haaland and stuff like that. that Norway were a decent team. But back in the 90s, I remember going to watch England play, and they were putting 8 past teams like Norway. And Leonardo was probably one of the first players that come over from Rosenborg. Was a really successful Norwegian team, and a lot of them ended up coming into the Premier League around about that time. It was the first time Wimbledon had gone into that sort of market. It just felt a bit special having a foreigner score a goal for you that looked like he probably was about 18.
He did look young, actually. And not just because of his height. He did have a bit of a young face, didn't he?
He did, but what a player.
Yeah, fantastic player. Went on to play for Liverpool and Spurs as well, amongst others. Jason Euell, he went on to play for 4 other clubs and 5 other clubs, but one of them on loan. Not including AFC Wimbledon. So, can you name what other clubs Jason Euell played for in his career?
Charlton.
Yeah, he went to Charlton.
Can't think where he went after that. Did he go Watford?
No, Stu. He would never do that.
I can't think where.
Do you know what? There's one club on this list I do remember him playing for, but the other ones completely escape my memory. So he went from Charlton to Middlesbrough.
Oh yes,
and
of course.
Having thought that he'd go all the way up to Middlesbrough, he then went all the way down to Southampton, and I do remember that. And then he went back up to Blackpool.
Yeah,
with a spell at Doncaster on loan, probably around the same time that Neil Sullivan was there, maybe.
Would the Blackpool been when they had a season, didn't they, where they literally had about 20 loans and then got into the Premier League and realised they had no players?
Well, he was full time at Blackpool. He wasn't on loan. He was a fully contracted player, but that would have been 2009. So yeah, when they got into the Premier League, I think, because they were in the Premier League the same year we got promoted from the conference, and that was 2010-11, wasn't it?
Yes.
So yeah. So there you go. Anyway, there you go. Right, final bit then for this week. Stu, do you want to play a different game?
Yeah, go for it.
This is called the Don's Trust Rule-Making Tombola, and we are going to spin the tombola and pick out whatever we pick out the tombola is going to become a new rule for the Don's Trust. Okay.
Yeah,
all right, so let's spin it. Let's spin it and see what happens. First one, I pick out. We should have done a velvet bag with Graham Kelly, shouldn't we? After what we said a couple of weeks ago. Here we go. So, the number of seconders you need to support a motion has risen, or should rise, from 2 to 25. Now that would surely not. Surely that would not be a rule.
Well, you never think you need to. I actually don't know if I know 25 people. Not that I ever raised a resolution. Yeah, it feels like maybe we just got a bit carried away. Someone probably went. It might have been a game of higher and lower. Maybe someone let's go to 4 and something higher, and then no one come in and said, "Hey, this is a bit too high." And just kept going higher and higher until they got bored and said, "Let's just finish at 25." It is. Hey, look, it's gone down like a lead balloon online. In all seriousness, these resolutions are really important. That as a fan-owned club, the fans or the members have an opportunity to put resolutions in, and there have been quite a lot more. To be fair, last year or so, there's probably been more resolutions in that period than I can remember for a long while. I think we had one where there's 7 resolutions. But to go from 2 people to 25 is just excessive. And I would love to know the reason for that. But yeah, I think the only thing that is doing is stopping people put resolutions in. And that to me feels a bit silly when they are there to represent the fans' opinions, and hopefully it gets changed. But obviously the new constitution is up for review in the SGM, which is this Monday the 17th, is it? I can't remember what date it is. I think it's the 17th.
Yeah.
So the SGM is on the Monday 17th, so it will be discussed then. I'm not too sure if it gets agreed. I'm hoping that it's probably the first reading of it and stuff like that, and people can put. But we've got to lower that. I'd be happy to go to 5, 7. But if you're getting into double figures, then I just think it becomes a little bit silly.
It's a 1,200% by my maths. 1,200% increase on that one, and it just feels the reasoning for it just doesn't.
Just
I don't understand it. Don't.
No, but unfortunately, the club and the DTB have got a bit of form on that because the week before that they raised the debenture period from 7 to 21. So obviously somebody that's been re-elected to the Dons Trust board just likes to have a number 2 in everything. But yeah, to go to 21, yeah, I think I don't know why we've made these jumps, but yeah, 25 does seem a little bit on the high side of it. Let's just be sensible and remember the reason why we have resolutions.
Maybe it's an elaborate plan. God, this is so tenuous. This is why I think I'm autistic, Stu. Maybe this is just an elaborate plan to get MC Harvey back at the football club. Because then when you get to 4 seconders, when you've got 4, then you've only got 21 seconders to go.
Okay. Even my wife.
What are you talking about, lead balloons?
Even my wife has groaned at that.
Yeah, people have just switched off in their droves. I do apologise. Right, should we spin the Tombola a second time?
Yes, let's go for it.
Okay, let's see what comes out this time. And this one says, communicate to people if they have been unsuccessful in the Sutton United ticket ballot. That's never going to happen. I'm still waiting to find out, Stu. It's been 8 years, and I still don't know if I got a ticket in that Sutton United ballot. Still.
Maybe the game got cancelled and no one told you.
Maybe. I don't know. But I'll never know. Right. Let's spin it again one more time. Okay. Jeez. One more time. And this time it says, extend the period for which you need to announce whether you want to pick up your debenture ticket for a game to 21 days before a fixture. That seems too long again. Maybe that is 21. Maybe there is something in this.
Yeah, the reasoning has been that they want to, because it was, I think it was 7 days before. So normally if the game was sold out, you then had a number of tickets released when that period went out. I think the justification was that a lot of people trying to get tickets together and they can't because of the debenture holders. Hey, look, I understand that, but we have to remember back when the debentures were released was because the club was going through a COVID period and it needed money. So out of respect, I think treating debenture holders in that way is not within the spirit of it. I think from memory we had non-refundable season tickets, didn't we, at a point? I understand we've got around about 500, 600 debenture holders. So you worked it out on what it was. It's probably about £500,000, give or take, that we raised out of it. And it just feels a little bit not respecting the spirit of those. Hey, look, there's no doubt the debentures probably weren't thought through of how they're going to impact over 10 years. I get that, because it does put restrictions on certain things, but I just doesn't feel right. Doesn't feel there's any interaction with the debenture holders, or whether we try and get a temperature check, don't we? But we haven't. We've just gone, well, we trebled it because it benefits the club. Okay, the club needs money. I get that, but it does feel a little bit of a slap in the face to the guys and girls that put money in their, put their hands in their pockets when the club were needing it the most.
The problem with the number of debenture holders is that when the scheme was released, you could purchase a season ticket and a debenture. And I'm not sure if these have been administered correctly, because I don't know of any season ticket holders that automatically get their season ticket renewed having bought a debenture. Does that make sense? So if people were not to renew their season ticket, I don't think that seat would then become theirs as a debenture. I think people would just resell the season ticket. And someone from the club, that might be harsh, and we should perhaps say, right of reply on that one. But my gut feeling is that there's a bit of a, I think it's no one's fault. It's just it passed through different regimes at the club and different ticketing systems at the club, and things have changed. And I think just perhaps in the whole confusion of everything, that probably might be an oversight.
Yeah, and look, it wasn't easy when we moved into Plough Lanes. We moved into Plough Lane during the COVID season, which meant we went from Kingsmeadow finishing the season a couple months early to then go in, obviously sharing at QPR for a bit, then the ground, then realise we didn't have money. I didn't get a debenture. I didn't see the point of it, if I'm being honest with you. I was happy to have a non-refundable season ticket. I was happy to do that. But I didn't see the point of the debenture. But there was, like I say, good 600 people that did. And that helped the club. But I don't think the people back then ever really felt what the ventures would do long term. 10 years is a long. Well, I think it's 10 years, and you also got a free additional one season. So, excuse me, 11 years in total. It's a long time, especially. And maybe I misjudged the fact that we would double our average attendance within 5 years. That obviously probably wasn't. I don't think any of us predicted that growth. But all I say is just treat the debenture holders with a bit of respect. I don't think it's very respectful just to announce a tripling of the period when a reason a lot of the debenture holders get it is so they don't know their schedule. So 7 days in advance actually was good for them. But 21 days, they've now got to make a decision a lot earlier. But they paid for the right to have a decision when they wanted it. So I just don't think it's very respectful. Yes, the club need money, but I might be wrong in this. I don't think I am, but they didn't consult with those debenture holders and just announced it, and doesn't feel right.
No, I think there was the survey, wasn't there, about non-attending season ticket holders and things like that was sent out, and I don't know if there was any feedback.
But that was to all of us, wasn't it? Not debenture holders.
Exactly. Yeah, so you're right. There was no sort of discreet, as you say, temperature test almost with consultation with debenture holders. But hey,
we're just in a position where we need money. If we bring back, back after we got promoted, we had many messages about donations. We had patrons introduced and vice presidents you could pay to be. We are basically trying to sell everything. I think if we could sell the bench outside Plough Lane, we would try and do that. We just need money, and unfortunately, that's the life of being in a professional football league as a fan-owned club trying to survive on that. So I get it, but it doesn't mean we want to maximise every potential in a stadium, but also just be respectful of people that put their hand in a pocket in a desperate time.
Last one from Tombola.
Let's go, yeah.
This one simply says Championship in 5 years. I think it's probably time we put the Tombola away. Okay, and wrap up for this week.
Unless the National League are going to call something different to Championship.
Possibly.
We're close to that. Actually, no, we're not closer to that. We're one league away from the Championship. We might as well be 20 for the difference in quality and money, and the money. It's all about the money.
It's all about the money, as Jessie J once sang, and with such great cultural references as MC Harvey and So Solid Crew and Jessie J. Do you know what I came across on YouTube, so to speak, the other day?
Go
on. I messed up saying it, so I thought you were actually going to just tell me what I thought you already knew what the answer was.
I have to say, by the way, I did watch Girlbands Forever.
Oh, did you? Oh, there you go.
I'm only on the second episode, but oh my days, memories.
Yeah, memories are made of this. Girlbands Forever. But talking about memories, yes, on YouTube the other day I came across old Fame Academy videos. Remember Fame Academy on BBC?
I do. Wasn't that when I'm trying to think of the band that was produced out of Fame Academy?
Well, no.
Hearsay.
No, Hearsay was Pop Stars, the original, wasn't it? Weren't they Pop Stars?
Ah, yes.
And then it went on to Pop Idol, Pop Stars, The Rivals, which was Girls Aloud, I think. And then the X Factor. No, Fame Academy was on BBC One with David Schnedden and Lamar and Alex Parks and people like that. 2003.
I have to say, there was a comment on it when I talked about the Spice Girls, and I think it was Liam Gallagher who was going, there is no way Jerry Halliwell is 24, because what's she going to look like when she's 30? And you just remember there's some things that they got away with then that you wouldn't get away with now.
100%. And also, I'm pretty sure Jerry Halliwell was as old as she said she was, because who would ever lie about their age? Just a sad thing to do. Anyway, that's probably it for this week, Stu. And next week we don't have a game, so we might take a break.
Yeah, got a week off, haven't we?
We might as well do. So if you don't see a podcast from us next week, everyone, you'll know why, because we're on a break. And unless something, I don't know, unless something cataclysmic happens or something, I think it'll probably be a fortnight before we return. But there we go.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, we're gonna remind ourselves how good we are and how many times we can press the record button in time.
On that note, thank you for joining me, Stu.
That's no problem.
And thank you, everybody, for listening. However you have done so this week. Alexa Bliss, bag first, milk last. 2 + 2 continues to equal 4. And we shall speak to you again some point in the future.